I'm going to re-welcome you. Welcome to everybody who's here today in person and to everyone who's visiting us from home. We Unitarians of Lake Norman are an open and inclusive congregation. Our members walk diverse paths to find meaning and purpose, but we're united by our belief in the inherent worth of dignity of each person and by the responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. My name is Karen Abrams. I've been an active member of this congregation since 2023 and have been a Unitarian since 1980. Our musician today is Mike Alec, along with Jane and Eddie. And our speaker is Rabbi Becca Diamond of Temple Kol Tikvah, which is Source of Hope or Voice of Hope. I love that. Rabbi Becca just taught me what that meant. Anyway, so she's come up from the street on her day off to, and it's so Unitarian, I think, to have your local Jewish rabbi join you for Easter. I mean, it's just perfect. So anyway, Reverend Becca was ordained in 2022 by the Hebrew Union College, the Jewish Institute of Religion, and she and her husband, Rabbi David Jaffe, both serve together and lead the congregation at the temple. So we're thrilled that you're here with us today. And now to start our services, we're going to light our chalice. And if you'll join with me in saying the chalice lighting words in your program. We light this flaming chalice to illuminate the world we seek. In our search for truth, may we be just. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in our search for peace. And now our opening words from Rabbi Becca.
Hello, everyone. I'm grateful to be here today, and I want to share a poem with you all. By Yehuda Amichai, an Israeli poet, and it's in translation, called The Place Where We Are Right. From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow in the spring. The place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard. But doubts and loves dig up the world like a mole, a plow. And a whisper will be heard in the place where the ruined house once stood.
And now, Mike, with our center. Oh, Jane. Thank you. Thank you. And now we're going to have Rabbi Becca, and she's going to be talking today on finding curiosity in a polarized world.
There we go. Well, hello, everyone, and happy Easter to all who celebrate. Like Karen said, you've invited a rabbi to speak to you on Easter, so this won't be your typical Easter Sunday sermon. And it actually makes sense that I am speaking today because I looked at my calendar and I was completely free today because it was Easter. And also I have a place in my heart for the UUs. My parents in the house I grew up in is right next door to the Unitarian Society in my town. And so I always saw Unitarian Universalists as my neighbors, and their leader was my mom's tennis partner. So I feel very comfortable being here today. I'm very grateful to be here. So I'm honored to speak here today also as finally Passover has just ended, and it was a long week. So finally I get to rest after a wonderful, busy week of Passover celebrations and lots of food. The first night of Passover, I participated in a Seder led by the Jewish Student Union at Davidson College, where I'm campus rabbi. When helping the students plan the Seder, they had a big concern about one of the traditional rituals. The Seder, if you have not been to one before, is a retelling of the Exodus story, which starts with Israelites enslaved in Egypt and ends with the beginning of their journey to freedom in Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. Thus, the Seder ends with the joyous phrase, L'shana haba'ah b'Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. So the issue was that because each Jewish student could bring 2 non-Jewish friends, that meant that 2/3 of the room of 140 people were not Jewish. And so with this in mind, the students were worried about saying this phrase, next year in Jerusalem, at the end of the Seder. Here's the dilemma that these students faced. Israel is an integral and inseparable part of Judaism. More than half of the Jewish people in the world currently live in Israel, and our Jewish communities in America are closely tied to our Israeli family, including one of the students who led the Seder, who herself is Israeli. Many of these students have openly criticized the actions of the Israeli government and have shown support for the Palestinian people, while also staying deeply committed and connected to Israel as a Jewish state. If they said the traditional line that ends the Seder, they risked being seen as right-wing and anti-Palestinian, and faced with criticism and possibly even anti-Semitism. On the other hand, if they omitted that line, they would be betraying their own sense of tradition and Jewish identity to appease mostly non-Jews in the audience. This is a position that so many liberal Jews currently find ourselves in. This is because mainstream discussion around Israel has been split into 2 opposing and even warring camps. Those on the right who support even the most violent actions of the state of Israel without question and see any criticism of Israel as anti-Semitic, and those on the left who support the national movement of the Palestinians and condemn Israel as a colonial state and see any criticism of their own movement as an unjust violation of free speech and see accusations of anti-Semitism as unfounded. I want to be clear. Today, I don't want to parse out the different arguments on each side to try to convince you of my opinion on Israel. Rather, I want to talk about how we talk about these kinds of issues as a culture. We are in a moment of extreme polarization. What this means is that even complex, nuanced issues are presented in black and white terms. People find a sense of belonging in one ideological camp or another, and paint subscribers of any opposing ideology as evil and uncaring and not even worthy of being seen as human. Thus, moderate or complex voices that don't fit neatly into the left or the right are shut down and demonized. Compassion is completely lost, and opposing opinions are met with slurs and even death threats. No wonder dialogue is impossible at this moment. Everyone wants their opinion to be heard, but no one is interested in doing the hearing. I've been thinking a lot about the 4 children of the Passover Seder. The Seder is built off of the idea that a child asks a question, and the Seder is the explanation in response. We talk about the 4 types of children. The wise child asks details about the specifics of Passover observance, to which we respond with specific laws about the Seder. The wicked child asks, "Whatever does this mean to you?" This child is admonished for saying you and not us, thereby not including themselves in the tradition. We tell them how important it is to be part of the community. The simple child asks, "What does this mean?" To which we give a straightforward answer. And then there's the child who does not know how to ask. For this child, we help them by starting from the very beginning and explaining the whole Passover story. But all these children have one thing in common. They're open-minded and interested in hearing from others. At this moment in time, I feel like we all are a 5th child, or at least many of us are. The child who is able to ask questions but chooses not to. This child feels like they already have a complete understanding of the world, and they willfully block their ears to any new information which could undermine their opinions. To this child, asking questions is pointless, since they feel they already know the full truth and have nothing to gain from the insights of others. This child sees the world in black and white terms, and any information contrary to their worldview is seen as false, and those who ascribe to other opinions are morally corrupt. This child has no need for questions, since they feel they already have all the answers. Today, I hear so many people today trying to create spaces of dialogue, but dialogue does not work if people only want to talk and not listen. It requires us to be curious about others and to have self-awareness of our limited perspectives. Most of the people I have found who still hold on to their curiosity are the children in our religious school. They don't come into conversations with a preconceived notion of what the ultimate truth is. They have a sense of the world, but are open to hearing from others and are willing to hear things in new ways. As adults, we often lose this openness and curiosity, which cuts off our compassion. We lose the desire to ask questions and hear the answers. As I promised earlier, I will not use this platform to try to convince you of my particular views on Israel. But I do want to share things I wish people would ask me and other liberal Jews like me. I wish people would ask why I feel connected to Israel so strongly. I wish people would ask me about the anti-Semitism that the children of my congregation face daily in their schools and among their peers in this community. I wish people would ask me why I, a Jew and a Zionist, am horrified at the atrocities committed by the Israeli government against the Palestinian people. I wish people would ask me about my experience living in Israel for the first year of rabbinical school and what I learned about Israel when I was there. I wish people would ask me how they could support the Jewish community of Lake Norman during this difficult time. But really, I wish people would just ask anything, truly anything, rather than make assumptions about me or the rest of the Jewish community. This polarization and lack of curiosity is dangerous to Jews. Jews have never fit into society. Our presence challenges the idea of homogeneity, and we are a threat to the neat categories that society likes to put people into. At this moment, the Jewish narrative subverts both the narratives about colonialism and the narratives about nationalism. The Jewish story doesn't fit into either of the accounts being told right now by the far left or the far right. Our story threatens to complicate each of these ideologies, and so no one is listening. But the solution to this is startlingly simple. We can regain our compassion by asking questions and actually listening to the answers. We can't make ourselves heard, but we can help others be heard. That is the superpower that each of us holds. In an age where we are encouraged to put up defenses and guard against complexity, we can break down those barriers and seek out the full truth, even the parts that complicate our own opinions. I'm grateful for this Unitarian Universalist community. Even by simply inviting me to speak, you show that you are seeking to listen to others. I hope that each of us can extend that interest in listening, even to situations where listening is challenging. Only then can we rebuild our compassion and find the truth. Thank you.
So now we're at the part of our service called Talk Back. If you have thoughts that have sprung to your mind during Rabbi Becca's talk, we'd love for you to share them, questions, and we'll give it our best shot. Okay, invite anybody up.
So how can we best support the Jewish community of Lake Norman?
Thank you. You can reach out to people in the Jewish community. I know that each of you know people who are Jewish, friends or neighbors or friends of friends. And you can reach out to them and say, I'm thinking of you. How are you doing? It's that simple.
You gave us too many hints today. So I'm going to ask you one of your own questions as well. I'm very interested to know how the children are being affected in schools by the anti-Semitism. Actually, in my life, I've seen very little of it. So everything you say will be news to me.
I also, in my life, until last year, didn't really ever encounter anti-Semitism. And immediately after October 7th, it was everywhere. And the people most affected were the children in our religious school. So in our religious school, we have children from ages 3 through seniors in high school. And every single week during our Sunday school, we hear from the kids about what they're experiencing. And every single one of them has experienced things. Comments from people, posts on social media. One of our teens recently, he wore his Jewish star for the first time to work, and his coworkers made fun of him for that. One little girl in 2nd grade, she and her mom came to me. She was in tears and didn't want to be at Sunday school. And her mom said at school, 2nd grade, the other kids said, Jews are ugly, menorahs are ugly, Hanukkah menorahs. And she didn't want to celebrate Hanukkah. A kid at another school, he got into a fight on the school bus because kids were making anti-Semitic remarks at him. This was a middle schooler. At another school, a kid, one of our congregants, he punched another kid. And he punched the kid because the kid said to him, you should have died in Auschwitz. And these are things, once again, that are happening in the schools here. These are in every town in Lake Norman, every school. It's horrifying. And we talk to our kids every week about it. Yeah.
Just an observation. I'll just share in feedback that where the little town I grew up in, about 4,000 people in town and another 4,000 in the farm area. My family was one of 3% Catholic in the mainstream Protestant community, Pennsylvania Dutch. And we were treated as you were. We would be insulted. So I identify with a lot. I am even here because of a lot of that abuse over the years that we faced as the minority of our community.
Sorry to hear that. Anyone else?
It's Princess Grace. I was interested in all the questions that you wish people would ask you. Pick out one or two and maybe what you learned in Israel, and whatever else, and answer the questions that we should have asked.
Like I said, you can ask me anything. You can ask me my favorite color. I don't care, and I'm happy to answer. And it's very dangerous saying to a rabbi, speak about anything you like, because you'll be here for a while. But I'll just one of the things I'll just touch on now and leave you wanting more. is about my year living in Israel, specifically in Jerusalem, for the first year of rabbinical school. It was a challenging year. It was a year where I was learning Hebrew and really felt for the first time like I was in a place where I was home. I'd never been in a place so surrounded by other Jewish people and not having to explain myself. You know, here in my neighborhood where I live now, the first year I moved in, not the current neighborhood, the first neighborhood I moved in Cornelius, the first winter, 2 different neighbors asked me where my Christmas lights were. and you know, and when I'm in Israel, I'm part of the majority. I'm part of the mainstream culture, and I am so at ease, and I feel like people understand me and my history and who I am. And at the same time, while I was in Israel, I did this intense program where I visited the West Bank and spoke to different Palestinian families and learned about the struggles they're going through and about the atrocities that the Israeli government has committed against the Palestinian people there. And on a daily basis, this is before the war in Gaza, and was absolutely horrified. And it didn't make me love Israel any less. Just like I love being an American, and there, especially right now, things I really am upset about America. And that's how I feel about Israel, that I see all the sides of it. I think a lot of people either demonize it or put it on a pedestal. And it's a complicated place. And in that year, I was privileged to be able to see so much of that complexity.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm Carol Okuda, and what you shared about the children really touched me. And it reminded me of a bumper sticker that I saw one time that said, "Mean people have little mean people." And, I was thinking it would be so wonderful if these kids could turn to the other children and just say, "It saddens my heart that somebody you respect has taught you that," because I think we could be friends. And it takes me back to our song that we started with, the breathe in peace, breathe out love, breathe in love, breathe out peace. And hopefully on some level, some of the mean people can turn their hearts around.
You hit on something important, which is that the things these children are saying, it comes from somewhere. It comes from the adults in their lives, or it comes from the culture and the media they're consuming. They learn it from somewhere. The Jewish children in our religious school, they're in a very difficult position. We serve a very wide geographic spread. So we have congregants from North Charlotte, like University area, all the way through Statesville, and Concord, Kannapolis through Denver, and actually one in Hickory even. So a very, very wide spread. And of the 75 kids in our religious school, they go to over 30 different secular schools. So most of them are one of only a couple Jewish kids in their whole school, maybe the only kid in their classroom. And we talk about that a lot with them in the religious school. They don't know who to turn to for support in their classes. They don't know what to do when their friends say these things that are hurtful out of nowhere. And some of them react, with violence, and some of them turn inwards. They all react differently. And I don't blame them for any way they react. I just listen to them and tell them that I love them, and I love that they're Jewish, and that being at the temple is a safe place for them.
It's a long way from the back. It is. I'm Sue. I live across the street from Rhonda Rose and Dwight Gentry.
Wonderful. Yes.
And Rhonda had us over for potato pancakes.
Oh, nice. For Hanukkah.
And they're like how many of us were there? 6 or 8. It was the loveliest thing to do. And it was a reaching out. And then she told us about the tradition. And we all learned to spin dreidels and sat at a hand-stitched tablecloth her mom had made.
Wow.
But I wish we could see more of this, more people reaching out both ways.
Yep.
And maybe that's something these children could, that's hard to ask a kid to do that, but to explain why these traditions exist. I mean, it was a lovely experience. So, and if you want to tell her that, that's okay.
Yeah. It's hard for the children, and I will say for the adults, a lot of the adults in my congregation, we skew more liberal at Temple Kol Tikvah, and so many of the adults in my congregation have, since October 7th, felt abandoned by their friends. Abandoned by their friends who they thought they agreed with on so many issues. And once October 7th happened, no one reached out to them. No one said, hey, are you okay? Hey, this must be a really difficult time for you. How are you doing? And they don't know how to reach out when their friends, especially are posting all these things on Facebook and not speaking directly to them. So it's a hard time. It's a hard time.
I understand on a personal level that, demonizing people is definitely wrong.
Yeah.
And there are people that have different beliefs, even if they are Jewish, that doesn't mean they all believe that they're absolutely pro-Israel or whatever. But is there anything we can do to stop the killing? Do you have any suggestions for those of us who are just here seeing people killed to bring a stop to it?
I ask myself this question, and I feel so powerless often in this moment. So scared about the fate of the remaining hostages who are in Gaza, so horrified at all of the killed and displaced Palestinians. I, as a rabbi, I have the privilege of not having to offer solutions, but helping people question. And so I don't have an answer of, do this thing to stop the killing, do this thing to bring the hostages home. I don't know what that one thing is. But what I can say is that you're not alone in wanting that. So many of us want that, even though it feels like there's so many voices who are encouraging the violence. And we each can be a voice for peace just in our homes and communities. And I think starting there is, even though it feels so far removed, it's got to start somewhere.
So I'm Veronique. I have a thought, Rebecca, and I commit to going to a school board meeting in Iredell County. You have to ask in advance to speak, but I commit to do that and to mention this issue. Not just about Jewish children, about any kid that is being bullied for what they are and where they come from. And that's something we can all do. And I think that's the place to do it, because those parents need to hear that. They are responsible for what their kids do and for the harm that their kids do. They have to be aware. So anyway, just a thought.
Anyone else? Well, I think we need to look for a way, while we may not be able to change national policies and stuff like that, we can be better friends. And maybe what we want to do is get you and Reverend Pat together, and maybe we can plan a joint service or dinner or something. We need to know our neighbors up the road. So let's do that. Great. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful talk. And now we're going to have a musical reflection.
I need my other harp player. Change of plans, Eddie. Do you have an A? Yeah. You always have it.
Why is that different from any other weekend?
It's not. I just like to see Eddie just jump through hoops. That's all. It's so much fun. Oh, we've sang this not too long ago, but since there's some guests, I thought it would be something everybody, most of us know. If you're down in trouble and need a helping, nothing, oh, nothing's going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten even the darkest nights. Just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, yeah, running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call. Hey, I'll be there, yes I will. You've got a friend. If the sky above turns dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind might begin to blow, just keep your head together now and call my name out loud. Soon you'll hear me knocking on your door. You just call out my name, you know wherever I am, hey, I'll come running, yeah, running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, now all you got to do is call. I'll be there, yes I will. Hey, ain't it good to know you've got a friend? People can be so cold, they'll hurt you, desert you, take your soul if you let them. Oh, baby, don't you let them. You just call out my name, hey, you know wherever I am, hey, I'll come running, yes, I'll run, see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You've got a friend, you've got a friend. Ain't it good to know you've got a friend? Ain't it good to know you've got a friend? Thank you, Eddie.
Absolutely perfect. Now it's our time to share our gifts. This fellowship is important to all of us, and our contributions allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to the community, both nearby and in the larger world. So as we pass the basket, ask those who would like to contribute today, do that.
It's just break music.
We are also grateful to everyone who works to make our Sunday services possible, and to those who participate in our various community activities and prepare our newsletter, and for the working YouTube channel. Our gratitude includes everyone who cheers us on by being in these chairs today or at home. Now we have some announcements that we need to go through. So if you look in your order of service, you'll see some of them. Social suppers. Linda, where are you going? Okay, we're going to McAllister's after the service. And Movie Tuesdays everything is in the program. Okay. Heart of the Carolinas Animal Ministry is next weekend. Right. Okay. Feed NC, second Thursday of May, which will be the 8th. We need some people to show up. So need some more folks for that. And Mary, you have a special announcement about the auction. Is that right?
I do. Cat and Dove Wall is for our visitors. They are our auction extraordinaires. Are not able to make it today, and so I have been chosen to give a few words and have a little game today. Sorry, oh Lord. And I appreciate those that have filled out the form. Now I've got a question for y'all. And you need to be honest. The auction is May 17th at 6 p.m. at Bailey's Glen, as it has been a couple of times, and we're delighted to be there. But I want to raise of hands of those that have filled out your form, have gone through your closets, have determined what Christmas presents or birthday presents or any kind of presents you've gotten in the last 12 months and do not care for, do not need, and do not want, but someone else will. Trash is treasure. Or perhaps you've gone in your closet and found something that gently used that doesn't, that you would like to get rid of. So be honest and raise your hand if you filled out the form. Raise your hand if you filled out the form. I have my hand not raised. You don't have to keep them up. It's tough. I will get that done this week. Doug and Pat are friends of mine from way back. And I and my brother used to do the auction at PUUC. So I've got some vested interest, but I'm embarrassed not to be able to raise my hand. So I'm glad to see a good start. Now that leaves more of you, our visitors, don't need to raise your hand. To raise your hand, to get off your duff and fill out the form and go through those things that you said in October. Gosh, I should have given that to the auction. But I'm going to give you an exclusive opportunity today to practice. Okay? Now I see that no one in the visual have got their hands under their seat. So you aren't sitting on your hands. So perhaps you can raise them. And I'm going to ask you to do that today. We have a very special auction item available to both visitors, members, people who gathered off the street, whatever, to get a wonderful gift today. a very special gift that I don't think that anybody in this room has available to them. Let me see. A very special gift. I have half a dozen Aracuna eggs from our very, very small flock. Now, we do all the protocols because there's the bird flu, which is just horrifying to us. We've raised chickens for 30 years. And these are from our Aracuna chickens. And today is an excellent day to give you an opportunity to enjoy the Aracuna eggs because they're green. You don't have to dye them today. They're already dyed. Now, granted, in the past, we've had Aracunas that grew and that laid the blue eggs in the piglets, but only green are now with us. So that's fine. So that's extra. And if anybody hadn't had a fresh egg, they're different. The yolks much more deep yellow, and people swear by them. I don't want you to swear by them. I want you to buy them. So we're going to have Linda. Will you join me? She could sit or stand. She's going to count hands, and this is the preview of the auction coming up.
Oh, this is practice.
It is a practice session. Absolutely, because I think we need to practice. And we're going to start off the bidding, ladies and gentlemen. And I must say, you can pay cash. You can charge it. You can give me an IOU. Any of those three items. And we've got both treasurers here. Very excited about taking the money. We're going to start off with $1. $1 for 6 Aracuna eggs, and I want to see those hands up. We've got to have, come on, folks. Okay. You know.
Everybody can raise it because somebody's already got it.
No, we're going to raise the price. These mothers aren't going to go for $1. Okay, so let's get started. $1. Who can do that? Y'all got $1 in your pocket? Okay, all right. Now, you know how this works. As Doug and Pat do it, $2. Because we're going to go up a little further. Then come on. Yeah, you can use your right hand, you can use your left hand, you can use both hands. All right, we're going to be adventurous. We're going to go for $5. Now, we're talking Costco prices here. Maybe even Walmart prices. $5. $5. Come on, yeah. Y'all think about it. If you're with your beloved or a friend or a daughter or whatever, or an in-law. Y'all talk about the finances. Now we're up to $5. What should we do next?
20.
20.
I like her.
They really do look good. And 2 of them I picked up right before I came here today. And these are from Leghorn Ladies. So they have a label and everything. $20. $20. I mean, that's not a whole. Thank you, blessed person. But we want more money. Huh?
Look behind you.
Oh. My beloved Marcus. Okay. All right. What do you think? We got several people, so we want to make another money. We want to get out of here because some of us want to go to supper, and other of us have other things to do. But you don't have to dye eggs because I have them right here. All right, let's be adventurous. You want to do 25?
Not me.
There's always one in the group, and she was a beloved friend. But it's okay. Okay, $25. $25 for 6 eggs. All right, now it's getting serious here. And I don't see anybody sitting on their hands yet. This is nice. This is nice. This is very nice.
Okay. Where's all this money going?
To the auction.
to the auction. This is our first auction item. We're getting,
Go into
you
the
know,
auction
into the
fund.
grooves. It wasn't in the, it's not in the catalog. A preview. $30. $30. Oh my Lord, $30. What's
$30.
630? Five? Okay, $5 an egg. The hens are gonna be absolutely bonkers. He's got money out. Well, we got two. Well, what did we got? Two? Three got three? Okay.
I don't know.
Two, got two. Got two.
No, she's
We got
not.
two. We got two.
Okay,
Do we still have two?
what's he
Oh,
got?
she's got her money out too. Well, you know
What number is on that dollar bill? That's a $50 bill.
You know, I'm 75, and when you get my age, the eyesight, you know, is not that.
It's for a good cause.
Jim, what are you gonna do with those fresh eggs?
I'm gonna fry them up while they're still fresh and eat.
Yeah, that's my man.
So
That's
much
cute.
better, hard-boiled and deviled. Mary, these are,
We're inviting my
When I
in-laws
was-
for dinner.
Pat Joe invited me to do the children's service today.
Yes.
And it was all about eggs and customs. So will you please keep it up? These are fresh eggs.
And they are.
They're different
Okay.
colored, guys. Got one broody. She was sitting yesterday.
Was she?
Yes. So why don't you do your auction thing?
Okay. What we're gonna do is with these eggs, please, for those that were so generous, and Jim, thank you so much. We need to close the service, and, we're,
I'll pay
no,
it. They're mine.
All
All mine.
okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, our closing song is hymn number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. If you will please stand as you're willing and able.
All right. This is almost more like a Gregorian chant, but may I be filled with love and kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with love and kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. Now it's you. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Now may we be filled with love and kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with love and kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Now, Rabbi Becca with our closing thought.
I want to share, I want to bless you with the priestly blessing, which is the oldest prayer we have in Judaism. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Eternal One bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May Adonai shine their face upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasen lecha shalom. May the source of life lift their face to you and grant you with peace. Amen.
And now we will be extinguishing our chalice. If everybody will find the words in the program, please, and let's recite those as we do that. We close. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.
Sandy, that was a really good choice, that last one.